Let's start at the very beginning. Picture those first days home with a newborn. You're exhausted, bewildered, and every sound your baby makes is a signal. But here's the thing. Listening at this age isn't about words at all. It's about reading cues, interpreting fussiness versus contentment, and responding with affection, not assumption. The technical term here is attunement. Think of it as being a radio dial, constantly tuning in to a frequency only you and your child can hear. Now, you might be thinking, how do I know if I'm tuned in? The answer: when you respond flexibly, not rushing to impose your own mood or agenda. Babies need us to be responsive, not prescriptive. Imagine if, every time you felt sad, someone tried to fix you instead of just sitting with you. As parents, our first and most powerful tool is simply being present, listening with our hearts as much as our ears. Empathy. Let's dig into this powerhouse word. It's not just feeling sorry for your child, but truly stepping into their shoes. Psychologists even call deep, focused listening empathic immersion. But don't worry, you're not required to read minds. Instead, think of empathy as reaching for your child's hand. You're both still separate, but connected through warmth and touch. Now, here's a challenge. How often do we confuse sympathy with empathy? Sympathy pushes us to fix, defend, or distract. Empathy invites us to listen and validate. Next time your child complains, resist the urge to fix. Just reflect what you hear. You feel left out can mean more than a 5-minute lecture ever will. The more we offer this bridge of understanding, the more we confirm that our child's feelings are legitimate. And isn't that what we all crave? What if I told you that great listening isn't about pulling teeth, but helping new ideas be born? That's why seasoned therapists compare listening to midwifery, not dentistry. In the presence of a truly attentive listener, a child can discover their own mind, resisting the trap of always reacting to adult expectations. Here's where self-regard or self-esteem enters the chat. When parents fail to listen empathically, not through harsh words, but through subtle neglect, they risk deflating their child's spirit. When you listen, you energize your child. You release them from brooding self-absorption and free them to engage with the world. So, next time you're tempted to finish your child's thoughts, pause. Instead, say, "It's hard to explain, isn't it?" That little nudge is the difference between control and collaborative discovery. Are you a child-centered parent, always scanning for danger, sharp tables, hot soup, cold drafts? Maybe you're thinking, that's just good parenting, but there's a catch. Focusing on the environment can make you attentive, but not attuned. The technical term is intersubjectivity, meaning the shared space where both your and your child's experiences meet. Hovered over kids can feel smothered, yet paradoxically, alone. They're dependent, not out of love for closeness, but for fear of aloneness. Here's my challenge. Next time you rush to fix the world, ask yourself, am I sharing my child's experience, or just reacting to my own anxieties? Real listening happens when you join them in their moment, not just protecting them from it. That's the kind of closeness that fosters confidence, not dependency. Let's talk about selective attunement. Ever find yourself praising a child's neatness, but scolding when they're messy? Or encouraging certain emotions, but dismissing others? Here's the technical concept. Affective boundaries, the emotional lines parents draw, shaping what's acceptable. The real risk? Kids learn which parts of themselves are worthy of love and which are shameful. Imagine a toddler bursting with excitement over music, looking for shared joy. If met with a bright-eyed nod, he learns his feelings are valid. But if you shush, dismiss, or look away? What message lingers? The breadth of your attunement determines whether your child feels free to explore or narrows themselves to fit your mold. Let's widen those boundaries, celebrate the full range of their experience. It's not about permissiveness. It's about validation. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a child running home to announce an A on her spelling test, only to be met with a distracted, "That's nice, dear." She tries again, hoping to ignite real excitement, but is told, "Don't brag." Here's where healthy narcissism, that sense of pride in oneself, meets shame. The technical term for feeling fundamentally unworthy. Negative reactions, even mild ones, can be emotional collisions. You might think, isn't it my job to keep my child humble? Maybe, but remember, a child's longing for approval is about connection, not arrogance. Before you dismiss their excitement, ask yourself, is this about shaping their character or about my own insecurities? Next time, try matching their joy. Sometimes, the best listening is simple enthusiasm. Do I have to? That's not fair. Sound familiar? Children's resistance isn't rebellion for its own sake. Here, the expressive function of communication, venting feelings, gets tangled with the instrumental, trying to change your mind. The psychological model at work here is responsive listening. Instead of cutting off debate with, "I understand, but," try letting your child express themselves fully. "You really don't want to go to bed, huh?" Give space for feelings without ceding authority. Now, you might worry, aren't I encouraging defiance? Not at all. When kids feel heard, they're actually more open to direction. Let's try separating listening from decision-making. Give them their say first, then calmly hold your ground. It's not about winning or losing, it's about respect. Whining, what parent hasn't faced it? The behavioral science here talks about negative reinforcement. Giving in stops the noise, but teaches kids to repeat it. Yet, at its root, whining is rarely just manipulation. It's an immature attempt to communicate frustration or need. Here's a radical idea. What if you tried responsive listening instead of ignoring or scolding? Kneel down, make eye contact, and ask, "What are you really trying to say, honey?" Often, the whining subsides when the child feels heard. Sure, classic advice says, ignore it. But do you want to just stop the behavior or understand the need underneath? When we meet the emotional need for attention, we teach more mature ways to ask for it. That's growth for both child and parent. Tantrums, the emotional supernova of childhood. Here's a technical tip: avoid the tug-of-war dynamic. When children lose verbal control, responding with calm acknowledgement, not argument, is key. Instead of "calm down now," which, let's be real, never works, try a reflection. "Wow, you're really mad." Notice I didn't turn it into a question. In this high-intensity moment, the principle is permission giving. You're letting your child know it's okay to feel, not necessarily to act out. Does this magically stop the tantrum? No, but it keeps you from escalating the conflict, and it models emotional validation. Next time you're in the eye of the storm, remember, your presence and acceptance are the anchor, not the wind. Let's fast forward to the elementary years, when kids become experts at challenging the rules. Is every protest an act of war? Hardly. Developmental research shows that give-and-take communication, where kids are allowed to argue their points, builds real-world negotiation skills. The technical distinction here is between authoritarian and authoritative parenting. The first demands blind obedience. The latter invites dialogue while holding boundaries. Here's a hypothetical. Why do I always have to do the dishes? Instead of snapping back, try, It seems unfair to you. Let's talk about it. You might discover motivations, worries, or even creative solutions. Listening doesn't mean surrender. It means building cooperation through mutual respect. And isn't that the kind of relationship you want? Here's a conundrum. As children grow, empathy requires both connection and boundary. The technical term here is differentiation, allowing your child to have their own feelings and interests. Some parents, out of love, blur the lines, becoming more like peers than parents. But true empathy flourishes when parents are grown-ups in charge, setting limits with warmth and consistency. Imagine the parent who can say no firmly, yet still listens. It's not about smothering with affection or retreating to authoritarian control. Instead, it's about accepting your child as they are, separate and unique. Next time you're tempted to mold, pause and ask, am I listening to who my child truly is, or to who I think they should be? That's the path to lasting connection. Adolescence. Just when you think you've got parenting figured out, your child transforms before your eyes. The technical term is family systems transformation, a realignment as teens push for autonomy. Now, resistance and retreat become the norm. Grunts replace conversation. Moods swing like pendulums. Here's a rhetorical question. Would you open up to someone who always interrogates or criticizes? Neither will your teen. Instead of prying, try patience. Share your own feelings, not just your rules. It's not about passive listening, but making an active effort to be present. Teens are exquisitely sensitive to criticism. One raised eyebrow can shut down communication for days. The secret? Reception. Create an environment where your teen expects to be genuinely heard, not cross-examined. That's the real door to their world. Let's get honest. Sometimes parents and teens fall into a pattern, each locked into a story about the other. Psychologists call these totalizing narratives. The parent sees the child as defiant. The teen sees the parent as unfair. Each side collects grievances, reinforcing their perceptions. Here's my challenge. Ask yourself, what view of me would make my child's behavior reasonable? Then, ask your teen for honest feedback. Do you see me as too controlling? It takes courage to hear the answer, but it's the way out of the blame spiral. When you listen openly, you model the flexibility and fairness you hope to see. You can't erase conflict, but you can step out of antagonism and into understanding. That's how real change begins. Not with lectures, but with humility and open ears. The journey of listening to children and teenagers culminates in this, striking a balance between autonomy and connection. Adolescents need more than rules. They need to know their emerging selves are seen, accepted, and respected. Here's the technical idea. Internalization. As teens grow, your voice becomes part of their conscience, but only if they experience it as supportive, not punitive. So, when your daughter questions college, count to 10, in Roman numerals if needed, and ask, what are you thinking about doing? The more you tolerate disagreement, the more your teen remains open to you. Conflict isn't a sign of failure. It's evidence of a relationship evolving. Listening is your lifeline, an act of courage, patience, and faith. In the end, the families that thrive aren't conflict-free, but conversation-rich. And that's something worth striving for. One act of listening at a time.